Hello,
Hey.
April. Hello, Swiki, and hello, world. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Diego. I'm in my office in Seattle, Washington. And as you know by now, I'm surrounded by these walls where I've been collecting stories and anecdotes and ideas over the 20 years that I've been at Microsoft. One of the things that I've been collecting is also paradoxes. I love a good paradox. One is from a mathematician, for example, Blaise Pascal in 1657. Actually, there's a programming language named after him. And he wrote in a letter to someone else, he said, if I had more time, I would have wrote you a shorter letter. If I had more time, I would have wrote you a shorter letter. And that's a paradox because paradoxes are things that actually sound contradicting, but the more you think about it, it makes sense. If you have more time to think about what you want to say, you can say it in less words. So today I want to share a paradox that I saw at Microsoft and I see in the tech industry all the time when I mentor people and through my colleagues. And that is that in a big desire to be super productive and super focused, they actually do something that is counterproductive. And that is to only focus on their deep expertise. You know, when you're working on software or you're working in the tech industry, yes, you need deeper expertise on something, but you actually become more productive when you also have a broad interest on other things. Let's say like hobbies, for example. It is actually that combination of deep expertise and broad interest that make you the most creative. Now, this is something that I knew in my heart, but I found in this book, Originals, I found a study highlighted by Adam Grant that I actually keep on the wall. I keep it up here, right there or there. But you know, that instead of doing that, so you can see it, we're gonna put it on the screen. So we can put that on the screen, and you can see that there was a study made about the Nobel Prize winning scientists, all of them from 1901 to 2005. And they looked at all the scientists that won Nobel Prizes and did not win Nobel Prizes. And they looked at, did they have artistic hobbies? And look at what the data shows, that if an award-winning, if a scientist had a music artistic hobby, they were 2 times more likely to win a Nobel Prize. And if they had drawing, painting, or sculpting hobbies, they were 7 times rated to win a Nobel Prize. Look at this. If they had a hobby about poetry, writing, or writing novels or plays, 12 times bigger odds of winning a Nobel Prize. And check this out. If they were an amateur actor or actress or a dancer, they actually were 22 times more likely to win a Nobel Prize. So this is the data that shows, and experiments and research was done similarly about patent holders, inventors, people who have patents in the US, or entrepreneurs for startups, and they found the same pattern. If you have a broad interest of hobbies, you actually are more likely to be productive. I'm gonna go back to the center. Okay, so why is this? That's because like our brains are pattern matching machines. That's what our brains are. So the more diverse set of data that you put into our brains, the more interesting the patterns that our brains will find and match. We gotta fit our brain diverse concepts. You know, when you take a break from your deep expertise and you go do a hobby, you come back to your problem set from a slightly different angle. That is because like different disciplines have actually different paradigms. If you're a Broadway musical actress, it actually has a different set of rules than if you're a software engineer. But you bring some of that paradigm and you apply it to the other paradigm. So that, I mean, April, am I making any sense, Swiki, so far?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I know from personal experience, I didn't know there was a whole paradox about this, but I know when I take a break and play the piano or something or the harmonica that I feel better at work and can solve more problems and get unstuck. So it's cool to know that this is actually a thing. There's a whole paradigm behind it.
It is a thing. And this is what, you know, when next time you think, I'm so busy, I wanna achieve so much, I don't have time to have a hobby. I actually will challenge you to say, you don't have time not to have a hobby, you know, because it is that broad range of interest that is gonna make you better at what you wanna be an expert at. So call to action for you in the audience is, if you don't have a hobby, pick up a hobby. If you have abandoned the hobby because you wanted to be more productive, rekindle your love for that hobby and then give your brain time and space to mix those concepts. And that's one of the things we've been at Microsoft when we tell our employees to bring your whole self to work. We take trainings about allyship and covering. So it's not only about bring your whole background, how you grew up, your ethnicity, your whole self. It's also about bringing all your interests and all your passions and find a way. So again, as a Microsoft leader myself, who I manage teams, I'll tell you, April and Swiki, like if I have the choice as a Microsoft leader that our employees will spend 1 more hour on their actual project, or they will spend 1 hour pursuing a hobby that they have a passion for, I would prefer they use that hour, because their brain will then do the magic. And it's the mix of these disciplines that brings us the most creative ideas. So that's all for me today. I'll have more for you next week.
That's an amazing call to action. I think we should all take that to heart. And another thing that having a hobby does, it helps prevent burnout too. You don't want to get burned out by just work, work, work. You need to take a break. So